Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by stupid bitch Rachel, aka Eric.
Hey,
Sorry, I
is
added
that she?
it.
I mean, she is a stupid bitch, but yeah. I'll take it. I'll take it. I am a stupid bitch.
Tonight we're continuing our Gone Too Soon segment for Pacific Palisades. Tonight we're discussing episodes 8 and 9. So I'll roll the credits and we'll jump right into it. So things happened in these episodes, but I feel like for the most part they were just kind of like average episodes. And then
Agreed.
the thing that was gonna happen in the episode happened, and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, not a
So
ton was happening, but a lot of like little things were going on.
right. Um, I made sure to pay close attention to the opening credits on both episodes just to see if there was a change ever.
On the opening credits, yeah.
So I don't understand why the actor that plays Michael is in the opening credits, but the actress that plays Ashley is not. I feel like Ashley's been on more than him. The blonde
Yeah, I don't
friend
know.
of Rachel's.
Yeah, right, right. I
Justice
feel
for Ashley.
bring her back.
Bring her
Episode
back.
14. Right?
Um, So Rachel, last we left her, she's looking for her biological rapist father,
Because
and
everyone does.
she thinks she found him in Joanna's yearbook. And she put last we saw her, she was putting the yearbook next to her face and was like, "I look like him."
Yeah,
um,
dummy.
so Joanna has gotten her a laptop, and Rachel's just like, "You can't buy my forgiveness." And she's like, "You said you needed it for school." And she was like, "Okay, as long as it's not for forgiveness, because I don't forgive you." And they're like, "It's not." And she's like, "Well, thank you." I'm like, "Bitch."
Hater.
You're like, "I'm still mad at you, but thank you."
Laura moved up. Actually, I do. I can't even say that because actually Laura is. I wouldn't say my favorite character, but I would say like my most interesting character, in my opinion, for me. Like I look forward to her, even though I didn't like her much.
um, yeah, I was most interested in her storyline these last two episodes. Um,
Right.
hers is very layered, so I feel like we'll leave her for last. Um,
Okay.
So Joanna goes to school and Michael's like still trying to get her to talk to him, and she's just like, whatever, you slept with that girl that you said it was your cousin, whatever. Um, and Ashley's just like, well, he thought things were done with you because Joanna kicked him out of the house and he thought he was never gonna see you again. And she's like, that's no excuse for cheating. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. I'd be pissed too, but still. Um,
Right.
she's just whiny about it. Um, So she tells them that she got a laptop, which is very chunky, by the way. It's very 90s.
Yeah.
um,
Reminded me of mine.
and they throw words around like CD-ROM, and I'm like, was CD-ROM new? Was that like the new hot thing in 1997?
It was. It was bigger then. Yes.
I guess it was because I remember buying CDs and they were like enhanced CDs, and you could put them in your CD-ROM and watch music videos on the CD.
Yeah. I remember like when you see when you go back to like say 1982 and you see Emma's computer on Falcon Crest, you know, that big giant thing,
And I
and
guess they
then
had the
compare it
floppy
to
disks back then, right?
oh for sure, yeah, yeah, she had the floppy disk.
um, So her friend Ashley and it's some other girl I think who we've never seen tell her that like there's a website for everything and you just got to go online. You could probably find your father that way. And I'm like, her ancestry wasn't around yet, but yeah, okay. Um,
And that girl was a young Linda Cardellini, wasn't it?
okay, was it?
Hmm.
Because I thought she looked
I don't.
familiar, but I like was like I brushed it off and I'm like, no, that couldn't have been her.
Can you not see the guest credits on the train?
No, I watched it on my phone, so I can't see the credits.
Yeah, I saw Linda Cardellini's name and I'm like, oh, well, I guess she is probably like a teen in that. Like, so I was looking out for her. So yeah, it was Linda Cardellini.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Huh,
right.
I thought she looked familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was her, but I was like, "No, it couldn't be." And it was.
It was. I didn't know she was like, well, yes, I do, because she was in Freaks and Geeks.
Yeah, which
But I
was, like,
forget what year that was. Was that
99?
99?
90, yeah, so,
Okay.
like, 2 years after this.
Yeah, so I guess that was one of her first things, maybe. Or unless she was younger when, I don't know.
Hmm,
But yeah.
that's
So
cool.
Linda Cardellini helped Rachel out.
Right. Um, she gets a list of all the men that live where are they from? Michigan?
Yeah.
With the name John Hughes. John Hughes? I think it
What?
was John Hughes. So she calls,
I don't think I wrote it.
she starts calling every John Hughes in the phone book. Um, and I don't know if it was this episode or the next episode, but that causes the phone bill to go up to $300.
Right. Yeah, that was funny. I remember those phone bills too, because my sister like racked one up when she was in college. It was like 428 bucks or something crazy.
I did that one. I did it bad a couple of times when, text messages were like 10 cents a text.
Right.
I got in trouble a few times for that.
I have
Uh,
like a R Hughes. Was it Richard Hughes?
maybe.
Because John is what's his name? Laura's guy,
Alright. So maybe it was Richard
I think.
or Robert.
I have R Hughes
No, we
here,
have a Robert,
but
so it couldn't be Robert.
yeah, I think it's Richard,
Okay.
I believe.
Um, so she ends up basically at the end of the episode getting an email from somebody saying that they have the name of the person she's looking for. They graduated from the school that she mentioned, the year that she mentioned, and that they dated somebody named Joanna. They left out the part
Mm.
that they raped her, but because they don't agree with that part. But
We don't agree with the rate.
but, that's pretty much her storyline. That's how that
Yeah,
ended
that's
for
it
her.
for Rachel.
That
Oh, and
episode.
she does give Michael another chance, it looks like too, in that
Oh, he
towards the
gave her,
end.
like, concert tickets, and he's like, "You don't have to bring me, you can bring whoever you want." So she's getting a lot of gifts from people that are trying to, like, buy her forgiveness and just get on her good side, and she's like, "I'm still mad, but
Yeah,
okay, thank you."
right. He's like schmoozing her.
So, yeah, that's Rachel, stupid bitch.
Funny. It
Um,
is. I wonder if she gets better in the last four episodes.
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking not. Or maybe deader.
Um, so Corey is in deep shit. So last we saw, he agreed to do, Mike?
Here's Mike. Frank?
Frank. Right, I'm trying to remember.
Frank's wife.
You were Frank's henchman last time.
Frank's wife's
He agreed to do
Amy, right?
Frank's wife's surgery, that she was gonna go under anesthesia and not wake up.
Right.
Um,
I did not see this coming. This was a good twist because I really didn't know it was going to happen at
I
all.
really didn't know how he was gonna get out of
Like,
this, honestly. I didn't and,
yeah, I didn't either.
they did, like, the typical, like, TV trope with, like, the poison with, like, the skeleton, like, I'm like, "No bottle has that." I was like, "No medicine ever had that on it." That's such a TV thing.
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh, he's gonna poison somebody. I didn't know what he was gonna do.
Why does the doctor just have poison in their medicine cabinet for what?
Eh, everybody needs a little poison somewhere, right?
Um, so I'm like, "Okay, what is he gonna do with this poison?"
Yeah,
He had a
I
line,
was
and I wasn't
wondering
sure if I
too.
heard it right because, like I said, I was watching it while I was commuting. Um,
Right.
it sounded like he was making Beth the beneficiary of his life insurance policy if something were to happen to him.
Yeah, I was confused with that too.
So then I was like, "Is he gonna kill himself with the poison, like, to get out of this?"
I
I
was
wasn't really
I
sure.
was think I was thinking he might like either try to do something where he thought he was in danger, like if Frank got him or his minion had gotten him, like maybe. he was setting her up, like something like that. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Um, so he calls Frank and he asks him to meet him. He says not at my he initially says his office, and Frank's like, I'm not meeting you at your office. So they decide to go to Jake's. Jake is Harold from
Harold.
Knots Landing.
I have
Um,
Harold. I didn't write Jake. Because
I
of
finally
Harold.
I finally learned his name and retained it, and I will probably never see him again. Um,
And Olivia was off at work.
yeah. So they meet at Jake's bar, and um, Jake lets them use his office so they can have a meeting. And Corey whips out. Well, he's kind of like playing with the needle on the side where Frank can't see it, and they're discussing the surgery. And he just wants to make sure that he's not going to get sued and that his debts will be cleared. He's just like kind of like tying up all the knots and making sure that his bases are covered.
Right.
And then he gets up and he lunges at Frank and he sticks them with the poison, or so we think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
then
was
I'm
like,
like,
holy
oh shit.
shit.
Now I'm like, oh shit, he killed him. Commercial break. And I'm just like, I'm like,
Commercial.
how's he gonna get rid of the body? How's he gonna get out of this one? I was like, he still killed somebody. It just wasn't the wife. I'm like, what's gonna happen? I don't know.
Do you
That
ever
was like
react
the
on
most
the
exciting
train?
thing of the episode.
Do you ever react on the train and everybody's like, what the fuck?
Sometimes I want to, but it was all in my head. I was just like, oh shit.
I just thought they just think you're just a crazy that oh, this is the normal crazy guy
Like I'm on the train, like,
that
oh my god. I
that
was like,
watches
is he dead?
soaps on
What's
the
gonna
train.
happen?
What's that? Did you see
You know
that?
what
Did you
happened?
see
You watched Visiting Palisades in 1997.
that? Oh my God.
um, Turns out he's not dead. It was, I guess, a sedative, but also like a truth serum.
Yeah,
And
that
while
was
Frank
cool.
was out of it, Corey videotaped him, and he basically made Frank confess everything that he was going to have Corey do: kill his wife, um, that he had Beth attacked, everything. And he basically blackmails him by saying, if anything happens to me or Beth, I'll have copies of these tapes sent to the police, and that'll be the end of everything.
Corey actually won me over in this because he made a stupid decision since episode one, and I'm just like, okay, you just see it going, spiraling down, spiraling down. And
Yeah.
so I'm like, this guy's a tool. And he actually got smart. I'm like, wow, like that's how to do it, buddy. You blackmailing a big guy that can have your ass killed. Like, go for it, man. That was cool.
At the beginning of this episode, I should have mentioned this. He's at a bar having drinks with Laura, and
Oh yeah.
it was a little bit jarring for me because I don't think we've had scenes with these two yet with the new actor.
Oh right.
And I forgot that they were friends because I'm not
How
visually
could you
like he
forget?
wasn't this actor, so I'm just like, oh right, the characters are friends.
Um, they're fuck buddies slash friends.
Yeah, they just went out for drinks. They're buddies. They're friends.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, at that point, he's like struggling with what to do. He's like has guilt. He doesn't know how he's gonna get out of this. And he asked her if she would kill for someone she loved. And in my head, I'm like, Laura doesn't love anybody.
I
She
know,
loves
right?
herself.
Yeah, which is understandable because she got royally fucked, I guess, from what's his name, John. You know.
Yeah. He says theoretically speaking. And she says she doesn't know, and she asks him, and he says yes,
Right.
which kind of freaks her out. Um, I think before he even asks that, he says, "What's the worst thing you've ever done?" And she's like, kind of like, "It's a long list."
Yeah, right.
So, we're
I mean,
reestablishing that friendship, I
I
guess.
highly, I highly doubt that she did anything besides just have sex with everybody. What else could you do?
Um, Kate scene
This was this
is
was rough
acting
to
like
watch.
she's okay with Jessica being back since she asked her, but she seems to be having insecurities. She wants to keep Robert's interest in her, I guess, so he doesn't slip up again with Jessica.
It made
So
me very sad.
she's like dragging Joanna around, making her run like a million miles to stay skinny. Even though she's pregnant, she's like,
Right.
I don't want to gain like 75 pounds.
Yeah. I felt
um,
so bad. I'm like, this is a terrible story. I feel bad for her.
um, she even comes to the office and like gives Jessica flowers and like hugs her and thanks her for coming back. And I was just like, this is so awkward.
Very.
She's like, maybe we could get past it and maybe be friends again. And I'm like, are you sure? And Robert even says she's
Yeah.
a little too okay with this.
Yeah, right.
Um, so that's pretty much her story for that episode.
Yeah, there really wasn't a ton.
Now, I wasn't really sure what Laura was doing until everything came together. So I guess we should talk about the Robert John. I can't remember his assistant's name, who I thought was his wife, the blonde that's messing around
Evelyn,
with
yeah, yeah.
that.
Right.
So they're looking at land that I guess they surveyed and have a blueprint for or plans. And John decides he wants it a little bit higher, and he like points up, and they're like, "Well, that person won't sell." And I'm just like, "Okay." He's like, "Well, he's like, see what you could do to change that." And Robert just says to the assistant, "Is he always like this?" And she's like, "You have no idea." So at this point, I'm not like putting the pieces together that this is what Laura is doing. So apparently, it's this older Irish woman who's very religious and she donates a lot to the church.
Yeah.
And she won't sell her land. People have offered her money. She just won't do it. Money means nothing to her. So Laura decides to dress up like a nun.
An Irish nun.
And then I was a little confused at first because I thought the woman was in Ireland because I wasn't connecting that it was the same property. I
Right.
thought that Laura flew to Ireland and dressed up like a nun because she was doing an Irish accent.
Yeah, that was funny. So silly.
And she basically, in a roundabout way, lets the woman know that her property is worth like 10 times what the person offered her for it. Like she
Yeah,
got
she was offered
4,000,000.
4 million,
Yeah.
and what it was like 40, like I forget what she said, like
It was
something
like 4,000,000 per acre and it was 25
per
acres.
acre. Yeah, yeah,
So it was, I don't know, I think it ended up being like 12,000,000
yeah.
or something like that.
Crazy.
But we don't find out the total until Laura meets her without the Scottish accent and none disguise and tells her that.
That
Uh,
was so funny. And she says she's her cousin, I guess, because so they look alike a little bit.
yeah, right?
That was silly.
So, um, because Robert and Laura are neighbors, I guess sometimes they do business together. And she gets the property for him, but we don't find that out till the end when Robert's like, "Oh, meet the real estate agent that made it happen." And John turns around and it's Laura, and she's just like, "Small world, isn't it?"
Right.
So she did this because she's trying to stick it to John and be
Yeah,
well. She's not really well. She is trying to stick it, but that's not why she did this. She's just trying to get back in his orbit so that she could stick it
right.
to him.
Yeah,
um,
which was fun.
yeah. So, did I forget anybody? No, because Joanna was mostly dealing with Rachel and her bitchiness, and then running with Kate.
And
And Nick was just kind of working
Je
on the project with Robert.
Jessica and Matt were like
Oh, he asked her to
dating,
move in with
so
him.
yeah,
That was weird.
yeah, like it was like what their third date or maybe third, and he asked that, yeah.
So then she's hesitant to do that because she doesn't know him that well. So they have like a 20 question date where they ask each other like stuff they should have asked each other on the first date.
Yeah, that was funny.
Like, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? Where are you from? Where'd you go to school? Like,
Yeah.
Um, all stuff I feel like you should have known about somebody before you asked them to move in with you. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
um,
That was silly.
but yeah, so I think that's everything that happened in episode 8.
Yeah, got it.
Episode 9 picks up with John taking Laura out for lunch after their initial meeting. And the sound, I don't know, I guess we watched it on the same playlist. The sound kind of dipped out for a minute, but she said time heals all wounds, and then she got up and she punched him.
Yeah, that was
She was
good.
like, "Don't worry, it'll heal." She's like, "If time really heals all wounds," or something like that.
And wait, I gotta point out the credits because remember you said you texted me somebody's following you. Who was it that's following you recently? Remember
Sally
you
Sussman.
texted me? Oh, it was Sally Sussman. I thought it was Lynn Marie Latham, but that's the
Oh.
I think Lynn Marie Latham and Sally Sussman worked together on Days of Our Lives. So I don't, and Lynn Marie Latham also wrote a lot of episodes of Knots Landing, but
Yes, in the later
she
years.
wrote she wrote this episode.
Oh, okay. I feel like she wrote a few for Savannah also because I remember seeing her name.
Uh-huh. Yep, she did.
Um,
Pretty good.
yeah, Sally I think kind of continued after Riley left in like '98. I think she did the
Yeah,
Princess Gina story,
right.
or she wrapped up the Princess Gina story, and then Tom Langdon took over.
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, back to Pacific Palisades.
Anywho,
So yeah, Laura ends up punching John,
that was
and
cool.
so that was cool.
Yeah.
um she's basically decided that she is going to get her revenge. She's going to just torture him by trying to make him jealous and be like, look what you could have had, I'm more successful now and I'm still sexy. And
And
uh
she's doing it because she wants to get back with him, so he marries her, and then she could fuck him over
and then she could divorce him
harder.
and take his money.
Exactly.
Because
Which is a good which is a good plan.
I could see this working because she turned down the money initially back when he broke her heart.
Right.
So I could see him being stupid enough to not have a prenup because he doesn't think she's about the money and that it's real love and all this stuff if they get married.
Yeah.
So if there's no prenup, then she can take him for all he's worth.
It's kind of like a cat and mouse she's doing right now with him
Right.
to kind of bag him, if
She's acting like
possible.
she's uninterested, like, that's in the past. This is all for business now. We have a business relationship.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
she lets the air out of her tire so that he has to drive her to an appointment,
Yeah.
which ends up being a fake date with Corey, a picnic date.
Yeah, that was funny.
And when he sees the setup, he thinks it was a setup for him and her, and she's like, no, I'm actually meeting somebody." So he's very confused and jealous, and she tells Corey to kiss her, and because he's playing along, obviously.
Right.
So again, we're seeing that these guys are friends. They're not just fuck buddies; they're friends.
Nice.
um, Rachel has been emailing back and forth with her father, um, but he keeps making sure that she's not telling Joanna that they're talking,
Shady.
because of the
Because of course
telephone bill.
Rachel doesn't want to say it anyway because she doesn't like her mom
Right,
right now.
right.
Sister mom.
Um, Joanna finds out that the reason the telephone bill was so high was because she was calling home a lot. But when she does more research, it wasn't just like their hometown, it was like all over the state.
Right.
So she realizes that she's looking for her father, and now Joanna's like, I have to find him before she does.
Hmm.
And she gets in contact with somebody that knew him and says that he died in a car accident.
What a twist.
Right.
So yeah, Rachel thinks she's talking to him the whole time, and I like how they did it too, because what they showed that, and then it went right to Rachel, and like he finally called Rachel, right?
Hmm.
and they talked on the phone.
So they showed that he had like newspaper clippings or like pictures up, and I
Okay.
couldn't really see on my phone. Were those supposed to be of like other girls he's targeted, or was it Rachel?
It was other girls that were dead,
Oh.
so he's a serial killer.
Okay.
That's what I got from it. I could be wrong, but it said like killer and all this stuff, and I'm like,
Oh,
all
I
right. So he's like, oh, I'm a killer, and I'm just gonna hook on to this girl. And it's probably remember like a lot of times in the '90s there was like internet killers more
mhm.
so back then. I feel like, and I think they're just touching on that. They're like, yep, be careful, kids. It's gonna happen to
Yeah, like
you.
a lesson, like, be careful who you talk to in chat rooms and stuff like that.
Hence why I said deader earlier. 'Cause, she might be headed down that route.
Yeah, she, like, tells him she has black hair, and we see that he has, like, black hair dye, so 'cause he's like,
Hmm.
"Same as mine." Meanwhile, he has hair dye.
I know. Oh,
Um,
that serial killer.
so, yeah, so they're planning to meet, and that's kinda where that ended. Um,
Yeah.
we did oh, so Beth ends up finding the tape of Frank being tied up, and she realizes that Frank was the one that had her attacked and Corey knew about it.
Yep.
So when he comes back, she kinda, like, tries to give him the opportunity to tell her everything. She's like, "So you still have your gambling debts that you owe?" And he's like, "Oh, no, we cleared it up." And, she basically calls his bluff and, like, says, "Oh, we should watch this tape that I found." It's a Corey, whatever his last name is, original.
I like that.
And she breaks up with him because she's like, "You knew that he was the one that had me attacked and you didn't say anything, and this is all because you're gambling debts." And he's like, "But I'm not gambling anymore." And she's like, "You lie about this. How do I know that you're not lying to me now?"
Yeah. What an idiot.
So they're broken up at the moment.
Yep. Dumped
Um,
his ass.
Rachel lies to Joanna when she's confronted about looking for her father. She's like, "Yeah," she's like, "but I couldn't find him." She's like, "So, like, now I'm done." She's like, "I guess, Nick's just gonna have to be my dad."
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we know she was talking to him, her father,
Right.
or the guy she thinks is her father. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so now Kate, her insecurities are kinda a little bit out of control in this episode.
Yeah.
She They go out to dinner with Nick and Joanna, and one of the servers says, "Oh, well, is Jessica gonna be joining you?" With Kate right there, and she's like, "No, his wife's here tonight." I was just like, "Ooh."
Damn.
And Robert tries to play it off like it's like a spot that they go to, like the company goes to, and she's like, "Oh, it's funny how Jessica's the only one that he remembered you having lunch with." So she's like, "Maybe he'll remember my name by the end of the night."
Right.
And honestly, good for her. I don't blame her for that.
Right.
Like, that stings. Like, oh, yeah, his mistress is the one that the server remembers. You must come here a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Poor Kate.
so he kind of tries to reassure her the next morning by canceling his first meeting and like having sex with her.
Hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
But at the office, he's still kind of flirty with Jessica.
Well, I feel like he's awkward. He's trying, like, he doesn't know what to do because he wants to be with Kate, I think, but he still likes Jessica, and he's just like, I don't
All he does is like ask her how are things with you and Matt, and she literally is like,
know.
"Yes, you asked me that yesterday." Like, she's
Yeah.
like,
Like,
"Still
can we
good."
talk about the weather? Yeah, right. Yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, Matt is like sleeping with John's assistant, who's married, by the way,
Mm-hmm. Evelyn.
Evelyn, right?
Yeah.
So remember when I was like, I couldn't tell if she was his assistant or his wife because we found out he was married.
Right.
I guess she's not the wife because we actually meet the wife.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so I wasn't sure what this was about. It was so that he could have the rights to whatever contracts. Their
Yeah, he
company?
was trying to get the contracts that for the Performing Arts Center
Okay.
or whatever, so he could be a part of that.
Okay.
Because remember they squashed him, like he was Jessica asked to involve Matt, but they said no. And that's why he got close with Evelyn so he could be like, all right, I'll blackmail this bitch and make her be, be able to get me in. So
They said no, even though he was the lowest bid and won, even when he broke in with Jessica's keys to get the
yeah, I
bid.
guess they just didn't want to work with him, I guess.
Hmm,
Maybe was it maybe because of the involvement of the bridge collapse? I'm not sure, but
maybe,
maybe he had a bad rap at the time because of it, and they
maybe.
were like, "Nah, fuck that guy." I'm not positive.
Um,
I'm just thinking that that would be a good reason.
but he essentially like holds this over Evelyn's head because he recorded their conversation in bed and threatens to
And
like
she's
tell her
married,
husband. Yeah,
but we have not met yet.
no. Um, so yeah, so just when Laura thinks that she has John wrapped around her finger and
Mhm.
I guess she can make her move, his wife comes to town, who she
Did you
had
rec
read in a tabloid that they were divorced or like getting divorced. And she's like, "Oh, don't believe what you read in the tabloids. We're fine."
Did you recognize the wife?
No, who was she?
Her name's Daphne Ashbrook, and she played Ryan's mom in the OC.
You know, it's funny you say that because I that was actually one of the names I did see in the credits. And I was waiting to recognize her and I didn't. And I was just like, oh, guess I missed her or whatever.
I didn't know who she was going to be because she literally came in the last, what, 3 minutes of the
Do you
show.
know who I kept
Um,
thinking that she was? I kept thinking she was Evelyn. And
no,
then
that's
there would be
Margaret
scenes where
Newman.
I'm like, "No, I'm like, "That's not her," and then I'd be like, "Oh, maybe it is." Like, I just kept flip-flopping on it.
Right, that's so funny. Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
Daphne Ashbrook, which I was super excited about because I loved her, even though she was only in like what 5 episodes of the OC because
Yeah.
she was a deadbeat mom.
Mhm.
I like that actress. She's in other stuff that I've seen because I always liked her whenever I see her. She's like one of those like scene stealers. Like she always has something good.
Um, yeah, so Laura pretty much is like, wow. She's like, "I know I'm a hoe, but now he wants me to be a side hoe? Like, really? He's still married."
Yeah, I don't know how that's gonna end.
And according to the preview, Joan Collins will be making her return in the next episode.
Joan Collins returns to Pacific Palisades.
So I'm sure she's gonna make things difficult for Laura or help her with John, who knows?
I'm thinking she'll help her for some reason because well, I don't know. I don't know why I think that, but
I
maybe
mean,
I give her the benefit of the doubt.
her last go around, she really didn't have any redeeming qualities.
She didn't, but I almost feel like she maybe involved John in the first place to like kind of help her get with her long lost love. Like,
Hmm,
I don't know. I could be totally thinking outside the box. I don't know.
yeah.
But I'm thinking maybe she's just feels like a little bit bad. So she's like, I'll throw him back in her orbit and that's up to her to do whatever,
So
We'll
I
see.
guess she'll be back for the last 4 episodes.
I guess.
So she was in 3 and then with 4 left, so she would have been in a total of 7 of the 13 episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. When I looked it up, I think it said 7 episodes. So it'll be
Um,
cool to see them back. I like the dynamic.
yeah, like I said, these episodes were just kinda average,
They
until
were. I
like,
mean,
the big moment happened, and then so maybe with Joan there, it'll just, like, amp it up a little bit.
honestly, I didn't think a ton happened until we were talking about it. And I'm like, oh, maybe a lot did happen. More happened than but I felt like that, I don't know, maybe I feel like this show goes really fast. Like I never feel like this is the 40 minutes. I feel like it's like 20 minutes. Like I feel like I guess because so much stuff happens, and I don't know.
Mhm. Um, so much stuff happens, but I feel like these 2 felt slower paced than previous episodes. Still fast
Right.
for TV, but slower than previous episodes.
Right. It's building storyline.
Yeah.
That's all.
I was like, "Hmm." I was like, "I guess this is kinda like filler, kinda? 'Cause you
Kind
gotta
of.
remember this is an Aaron Spelling show, and his shows that were soaps like this usually ran 30 episodes, so
Right.
there was gonna be filler. Unfortunately, this met an early demise. Um,
Yeah.
but
Coming soon.
is there anything in your notes that I missed that you wanted to talk about?
Um. No, I think we got everything. Um. Yeah. Yeah. The Kate walked in on Jess and Robert as they were celebrating getting the account,
Right. Which did not help
and
her
that
jealousy.
no,
For some
I know.
reason,
I
and
just
I
feel
could be wrong, I could be making this up, I have this memory of Kate going, like, crazy psycho bitch because of her jealousy.
now you said that like in the first or second episode, and I'm looking for that, and I was like, okay, this will be
So maybe
cool.
it
So
does
she's like,
happen if I mentioned it before.
well, yeah, and I'm waiting. I'm like, okay, it's not happening. We're already four more left, and it didn't happen yet.
I also feel like I have this memory of Rachel hitting on Nick. Speaking of
Hmm,
Nick, now that John's
that would
back in the
be
picture,
icky.
does Laura not wanna sleep with him anymore?
Yeah, these are the two episodes. I honestly, I feel like that story ended when he basically told her he wants his wife.
Oh,
I really feel like I feel like she just gave up. And now she's distracted with this, so I think that's
she's
done. I feel
distracted.
like that story is. It's true, like she is. She's distracted with John now, so she's just like wanting revenge. So she's not even thinking about Nick now anymore. I
Yeah,
feel like that kind of ended.
she's got bigger fish to fry. But
Right.
also, I just feel like that was a bet her and Corey had, so I guess, like, she lost the bet.
Yeah, right. I guess.
Hmm,
Yeah, I think that's all I got. Yep, yep.
alright. Well, we have 4
So
episodes
next
left.
episode, we're gonna
That'll
see
be
Rachel get killed.
I don't think so.
Nah,
So
she'll
I have
probably
this
get
memory
kidnapped.
I have this memory of Rachel having a thing for Nick and kind of being like, "Imma steal my sister/mother's slash mother's man." Um, so if my memory is real and correct, I think what's gonna happen is it's gonna be like a Hope Roman situation.
Hmm. He's
Um,
gonna save her from the killer.
he's gonna save her from the killer, and she's gonna, like,
Mm,
develop a crush on him because my hero.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But
But we'll see that they
we'll
tricked
see.
me a couple different times. It
Yeah,
wasn't, things are happening that I didn't see coming.
they tricked me too, so you never know.
And you've seen it, so
Right, well,
look
yeah.
at you. But when you watch too many soaps, I get it. Like you kind of like you like know when things happen or some little things like you said you have the vague memories. Like when we restart Dynasty, I feel the same way with Dynasty. I know like the big things, a lot of them, but I don't know when they happen. I totally forget like
But I've
what
also seen
season
a
it
lot
is.
I watch a lot of soaps, but I also have seen a lot of soaps more than once, so that's why I remember things better on some shows. This I've only
Right,
ever seen once from beginning to end, so
right.
that's why my memory's more hazy with this one.
Yeah.
Um, but something else I think Paul Satterfield eventually ends up in the credits, but only for, like, a couple of episodes,
Wow.
and then it's like, "Damn, imagine signing on for a show that you think is gonna be a hit and you get canceled 3
I
episodes
know.
later." Like, you're like, "Oh,
Although,
it's been on for, like, 10 episodes. We're good. I'm joining the cast. Sign a contract." "Oh, it's canceled. Sorry."
oh, was that after Savannah went off or before Savannah went off?
After. Savannah was 96 to 97.
97. So it's right after. So he got that. That sucks.
Yeah.
He
Damn.
had a good run on Savannah, but who
Um,
knows?
all right. Well, thank you for joining us for another edition of Gone Too Soon Pacific Palisades. Until next time, you can always find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.
Happy holidays,
Happy
everyone.
holidays. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.